in Python or TensorFlow. Okay, fine. Okay, I'll carry on. So I think this is important. I am not sure how long it will be. How long would you want it? I think I'll try to finish in half an hour, but I don't know. It depends on how fast you guys do. If you finish it fast, maybe attendance link I'll share after this session. After this session, okay. So okay, shall I start? Shall I start? Okay.
On Colab?
Yeah, on Colab. Everyone actually open a new notebook in Colab. Open a new notebook in Colab. Come. I will wait. Give like one. Open a new notebook in Colab. Okay. So today's problem, it looks big, it is not difficult. I'm telling you, it only looks big, but it is not difficult. Okay. Fine. Fine. Okay, I think people, as you keep ready, just look at the slide I'm sharing. Okay. So slide is visible to all, right? The slide is visible to all, right? Yes. Okay. One group is other group. Colab, this thing, just you type colab.research.google.com, it will work. Okay. So Colab. Okay. Why? Okay. So yeah. Read the question. So Bob, a person, okay, he's gonna start his mobile company. So he wants to give a tough competition to this top competitors like Apple and Samsung, but he doesn't know how to estimate the price for his mobiles. Okay. So now what he's doing is he's going on a data hunting, based on past selling of data of other companies. Okay. Let's say Redmi or something. Yes. Someone, it's noisy. Someone's mic is on. Who is it? It's mic. What is the mic? Whose mic is this? Okay, there we go. Just mute the mic. Okay, I have muted. Okay, fine. Sorry about that. So now he has collected the selling information of 2000 mobile phones. Okay, so in that he's not only getting the price, he's getting some other information also, like RAM, internal memory, CPU speed, and so on. So there are like 20 of such information. Okay, so 2000 mobile sales data and 20 information about each mobile sales. Okay, now he wants to classify, he wants to put his phones into 4 categories. So 0 is the cheapest and 3 is the most costliest. So these are the 20 features. Okay, 20 features means battery power, you will have some value. So if you don't understand this, when you go to Colab and see our data, you will understand. Okay, you need not worry about it. So you have blue, clock speed, and so on. So many things are there. Okay, so now Keras. Okay, Keras was a library which was like released in 2015. It was done by a Google engineer, Francisco Cholet. Okay, so it supports feed-forward neural networks and recurrent neural networks. Okay, so feed-forward neural networks means you have your ANN. Today Tsar took, right, Perceptron. Perceptron actually does not support. It supports only neural networks. Okay, so multi-layer perceptron with different activation function is called as a neural network. Okay, so he showed some mathematical symbols, right, like ReLU and sigmoid and those things. So those are feed-forward neural networks, and you have recurrent neural networks also. So ANN is actually a type of feed-forward neural network. So Keras is for beginners. So everything is like, as I said, if you remember our initial conversation, I talked about libraries. So I think I'll refresh that. Python is made up of English alphabets, A to Z, and capital A to Z and small a to Z. Okay. And next one, collection of alphabets forms tokens. Okay, collection of tokens with proper grammar forms this thing. That is statements, Python statements. Collection of Python statements forms a block, and the collection of block forms a program. And the collection of programs, you will get packages and so on to libraries. Okay, so Keras is a library, so it has so many other sub programs inside it. Okay, fine. So similar packages are PyTorch. So for beginners, Keras is good. PyTorch is for research people. Keras is not as flexible as PyTorch. Okay, and it is by Facebook. And then there is this TensorFlow by Google and Google Brain. So it is somewhat hard, and even I do not use TensorFlow. But Keras, since both are from Google, on the background it uses TensorFlow. So TensorFlow is abstracted. It is the complexity of TensorFlow is hidden by Keras. Okay, fine. So what does it expect? What does the Keras package expect for an ANN? So it has a class called sequential. Okay, so sequential is an class. So it has like it follows ADT and OOPS concept, meaning sequential has a set of operations associated with some set of values. Okay, and it expects the input, the training input features and the training target class it separately. Okay, it should be separate into NumPy arrays, in different arrays. If you will see that, we'll see that. Okay, if you do not understand, this is just an overview. Okay, we'll go one by one. You will understand slowly. And the output should have the same number of neurons as the target class. If you have two classes, binary classes, you should have two neurons. For our problem, it is a 4 classification problem. So our output layer should have 4 neurons. Okay, and yeah, in each of the layers, okay, when we are like adding something called a layer, okay, when you're adding a layer, you should define, it will expect us to define the activation function and the number of neurons in each layer. Okay, so you may have doubts as of now. As we go on, we will understand more. So for us programmers, generally before implementing, we used to do something called an algorithm. Algorithm is like a plan. For example, a civil engineer, before building a house, they'll draw out a plan, okay, blueprint. So algorithm is just like that. Algorithm is a step-by-step statement in some higher language like English or something, which we'll convert into program. Okay, so I'll quickly show a simple algorithm. So there are many ways to write an algorithm. One is the formal way, which you might have seen in our previous presentations, and this is somewhat semi-formal. Semi-formal means you have a structure. You are like expecting an input and an output, and you have some set of statements. Now you may get a question like, why should you write an algorithm? As I said earlier, it is a plan. Okay, it is a plan. And the thing is that many people assume that algorithm should be in English. I feel that algorithm can be in any language. Okay, any language. It should be easy for you and your team. So it can be in Hindi, Tamil, or anything, whatever it is. And if it is not informal, okay, if it is formal, it is different. If it is informal, it can be in any way. So I have written in somewhat simple English. So some terms may be new for you. Okay, fine. Okay, so the thing is that for training our model, we need a training data. Okay, we need the training data, and our expected output is the trained model. Okay, so I can write this mathematically too, but I have written it in simple English so that you can understand. Okay, I have removed all the mathematical what do you call it, jargon. So Keras, what does Keras expect from the training data? It wants the features separately and the target class separately. So that should be our first step. Okay. And there is something called one-hot encoding. Okay, so we'll see what one-hot encoding is. The thing is that the target class will be in the form of 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, but our output neurons, generally it will be softmax. Today morning sir said generally it will be of softmax to give us a value in terms of probability. Okay, if you remember, he said something like that. To get a value in terms of probability, the output layer will be 0 to 1. But our current class labels will be 0, 1, 2, and 3. So to convert 0, 1, 2, 3 into a numeric representation, we go for something called one-hot encoding. Okay, one-hot encoding, and again you will see that. Then before training, we'll have to split our data into training and validation. So usually this is what they follow. There's no rule of thumb, but generally if you don't know some value, we'll generally take 80% for training and 20% for testing, or actually it's called validation, okay, not testing. Then what should we do? Then we have to design our neural network. We have to design our neural network. Okay. After design is over, you have to compile our neural network. There you have to define what is our loss function and our metrics. Metrics we'll use is, I think, accuracy. And the loss will be something called categorical loss. This categorical loss. Categorical loss. Then what you have to do, you have to train the model, and there you have to set the number of epochs and batch size. So in looking at this algorithm, if you are new to this, what do you call it, ANN or artificial neural network, you should have understand nothing. If you understood something, you have some experience already. Okay, so we'll go step by step. So first part, we'll split the algorithm again. First part, we look at the training data input. So the thing is that first thing we are going to do is, we are going to load the input into our what do you call it, practice session, this Google Colab. So first of all, I would like all of you to connect. Okay? Connect to this. We'll wait, and we will need NumPy and Pandas. So those two are also again packages. Okay, so those two are packages. I think yeah. Should I put code share? Should I put it in code share or shall I put it in chat? I need
Chat is fine, I think.
Chat is fine, right? So I'll go very slow. Okay. So I'll give everything. Okay. So do not post anything much in the chat. If you want to talk anything, kindly unmute and ask. Okay. Let the code be there in the chat. The first two lines I have added in the chat for the first group. Now for the second group. Second group code. Okay. So epochs I'll tell all of this. So don't worry. Okay, if you're like confused or anything, don't worry. So okay. So for some people may have, what is this NP and PD? So it is like nickname, like it's called aliases, but aliases is the technical name. Generally, instead of typing whenever you're using NumPy, you will write numpy dot. So since generally people are lazy, they want to reduce it to some nickname. So it's a very famous nickname for these two packages, NP and PD. So instead now onwards, when we are like using NP and NumPy and Pandas, instead of NumPy, we will type NP, and for Pandas, instead of writing Pandas dot something, we will write PD dot something. Okay, fine. So those packages, the initial packages, we have imported. Okay, fine. System is somewhat slow. Okay. So next is to load our training data. So I have stored my training data in a GitHub repository. So it's another website, a storage. Okay, I don't want to explain that, but it is located in this location. That's all. If you run this, the values will be stored in dataset. Okay, fine. So okay, I've posted here. Okay, reading a data set. So okay, fine. And yeah, so the first thing, one thing you can always do is that after after reading something, you can always check the type of the variable. Okay, so data set is the variable, right? This is the variable. So it is storing something. It is storing what? It is storing a pandas data frame. That means it is storing something like a table. Pandas data in the first, I think, class I told about this. Pandas data frame will store something in the form of a table. So it should show pandas. That is, its data type should be of pandas. So yeah, pandas data frame. Okay, so it's a data frame. And another thing you can do is you can print the value stored there. So again, for this one, I think it is data set dot. Okay, so here you can see all the functions. So I'm going to use head, and I'm going to print the first 10 rows. Okay, let me see it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we can see this, right? Battery power, blue. These are all the features. These are all the features. So each row is called as an instance or a data point. Each row is called as an instance or a data point. So there are 10 instances in this because we gave head of 10. Okay, if you give a more number, you will get a bigger number. Okay, so our target class is this price range. So price range is like this one's price range is it's closer to cheap. It is somewhat costly. This is somewhat cheaper. This one is very costly. These three are very cheap. So based on these features, some company has decided the price, and the price we have like categorized into 4 classes. Okay. So now the question is, does anyone have any doubt in this? Does anyone have any doubt in this so far? Unmute and you can say.
No, sir.
No doubt, right? No doubt. It's easier. Okay. Trying to avoid. Code share will be fine, sir. To avoid indentation error. Okay. Is anyone getting indentation error? Maybe I'll share code share. That is easy. No errors, right? I need some response. Okay, no errors. Fine. Thank you. Okay. Cool. 1 minute.
Sir, on line 3, there is an error, sir.
What is it saying? What is the error? What is it saying?
It is saying IPython input 4 BC 534, something like that.
Last line.
Last line is syntax error, invalid syntax.
Okay, invalidation. This is code share. Okay, I'm putting it in code share. Okay, so I think you must have got the table. Everyone got the table. That is the thing you need to know. Did everyone get the table? Okay. So I have pasted the first line. Okay, I pasted. Okay, so I pasted. When you're copying, please copy the code. Do not cut the code. Control C. Okay, select everything and give Control C. Do not give Control X. Control C and then paste it in your this thing. And
Okay.
paste it like block by block. Do not paste it in one cell. Everything. Okay. So
Okay.
I'm like pasting block by block, right? Like that way.
Okay. Thank you.
So what have we done so far? So in pandas there is a function. So pandas is a class. Inside that you have a function called read underscore CSV, and you're calling that function. You're passing the string. So like magic, something it has gone and read the data, and has transformed it into a table, and it has put it into this variable called dataset. Okay, fine. 1 minute, ma'am is calling. Yes, ma'am. Okay, fine. Okay, sorry about that. So this is fine, right, for everyone? If anyone is having difficulty, okay, fine. So next, so now we'll go back to our algorithm. So that is like we have read the input. Okay, so this part of our algorithm is over. So your first part is over. So next, what should we do? We have to split the training data into, that is like the feature set separately. The target class you have to separate it. Okay. So for that we have to use something called index locator. Okay, index locator. And one more thing is that Keras is like happy with NumPy. It likes NumPy more than pandas. So sometimes when you use pandas, you may run into errors when you are using Keras. So what we will do is we will like select the select the features, and we'll convert that pandas data frame into NumPy. Okay, we'll go to the next slide. 1 minute. Okay, so the code is here. So we'll do for X first. So that is X will contain the set of all features. That is my 20 features, from battery power up to Wi-Fi. price range is my target, I will not take my target. So from all of this, from Wi-Fi to battery power. Okay. So how does this work? So data set. So data set is a ADT now. Okay, data set is a ADT. I mean, it's an object. Sorry, it's an object, and in that object we have an operation called index locator. ILOC. Index locator. So this first column is for rows. When you give column, it means all. Okay. So it's like for all rows, select all rows. And before this, I'm not giving any number. So I'm not giving any number. So that means start from the first column to 20 minus 1. Okay, so start from the 0th column and go up to 19. Okay, so get all those columns, and if you give a dot values, it means convert it into a NumPy array. Okay, convert it into a NumPy array. It is just a different representation. You won't have this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this heading also you will not have. So I think I can print and show. So I'll put the code in the code share. Meanwhile it runs. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So now it's a good practice always to print what is there next. It's a good practice. That's all. So let us print. It is converted to NumPy. Okay. So the thing, see, you can see now the heading and all is gone. Heading is gone. That is battery power. Those information are all gone. Okay. Right. So it looks like 800, and that is, it's actually, how do you read it? 8.42 into 10 to the power 2. Okay, that is how you are supposed to read it. So that should correspond to 842. So the first value. Okay, so 842. So it is transformed into something like this. Fine, right? Fine, right? So now what have we done? We have selected all the features. So there are, I said there are 20 features. So we can see the size of them. So yeah, as I said, the person has collected 2000 instances, like 2000 mobile selling data points. Okay, fine. And yeah, next what should we do? We should get the target class separately. Okay, you should get the target class separately. So I'll give you an easier hint. The thing is that all of this one-line code, right? One-line code is actually a separate program. If you are like writing from scratch, it is a separate program. Python is making it easy for us. Okay. So what do we need? Again, we need all the rows, but in this time, what do we need? We need the last column only. Last column is our target class. Okay. So y will be our target class. So how can we do this? I think -1 will do. I'll just check. I have not done it, but I'll check. It is okay to. Okay. So now if I print y, I should get the target class. Yes. So the target class, the first value is. The target class, the first value is 1, followed with 3 2s and followed by 2 1s. Okay. Okay, here it's there, it's same. Okay. First one is 1, second one is 2, third one is 2. This triple dot means etc. etc. And these are the last 3 ones. Okay. So we will give length and it should be also 2000. Okay. So it is 2000. So we have separated the set of features and separated the target class value. Okay. And next what are we going to do is we have to check the type, right? I gave dot values. Dot values is for converting pandas frame into a NumPy. So it is like type of y. So these are all best practices. So whether you're like, you will not make mistakes. If you know what you're doing, you will not make mistakes. So it's NumPy array. NumPy n-dimensional array. Okay. So okay. Attendance link I will share. Okay. After finishing this code, I will share. And yeah, so any questions in this step? Anyone? Did everyone get this output? Did everyone get this output? The last one.
This code.
Hmm.
11. Please share.
Okay, you can type this. While I type, if you want, you can type this. This is very straightforward, right? So what did I do? I changed x from y. I'm using the same data set and I'm like reading -1 means last column. -1 means last column. So for all rows, I want the last column. Okay, fine. Fine. Okay. So I hope there are no more doubts. I'll just check the chat for any doubts. Okay. Code share link 1 minute. Anil, are you there? Anil, can you share that code share link? Copy paste it below.
Sir?
Anil, I mean my TA.
Yeah.
Yeah, copy share, copy that code share link in the chat and paste it again. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Fine. Not getting any output. What are you getting, sir? Ma'am, Aparna and Amol. Can you unmute and say, ma'am? Hope you are like copying from code share. Okay. Aparna, ma'am. Okay. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Why len of x and len of y showing error?
Alien of, did you put the bracket correctly?
Yes.
Is it like alien? And one more thing is that this is case sensitive. Okay. That is, if you put capital Y, you'll get error. If you put small y, you'll get error. That is that. So I'm getting error now. Did you say something
Ma'am,
like that?
hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
So, for a NumPy variable, we can't use this len operator. We have to use only dot shape operator.
This is, I'm using it right. Alien Y. It works.
Oh,
It
I
works.
think that's a list, no? It's a list, I think.
It's an umpire. It's an umpire.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Yeah. So, ma'am,
It's an array, NumPy, so we can use alien.
alien. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, you got out. Okay. Got this. Okay. That is correct. And that is correct. So, if you want to display x and y, what you can do is you can just type x. You can just type capital X. I have saved it as capital X. So give it give capital X, and you can see the values. Okay.
It is case sensitive, right, sir?
It is case sensitive. It's case sensitive. So small x and capital X are different. Small y and capital Y are different. Okay. So okay. So now back to our presentation. So if you look at this, we have separated the feature set, that is a 20 features separately, and the target class separately. Okay. So next step. The next step is one hot encoding. Okay. So why one hot encoding? So what is one hot encoding? That is, if you are having like two classes, let's say class 1 and class 2. If you apply one hot encoding, you will get 0, 1 for class 1 and 1, 0 for class 2. If you're having like three classes, you'll get 0, 0, 1 for class 1, 0, 1, 0 for class 2, and 1, 0, 0 for class 3. So what it does is that it converts any number into a binary format, a binary unique format. Okay, fine. So, and again, for our lab, Python has so much number of functions, so you can actually simply search and you can find. So this is actually from sklearn, scikit-learn. Scikit-learn. I will post it here first. So I have posted the one this thing one hot vector in the code share. Check. I'll explain. Okay. So what are we doing? This is the thing. sklearn, it's a pre-processing step. It's a pre-processing step. So there they have something called one hot vector. Right? Okay. So it is a class. So now OHE is actually a object. Okay, object, and object or it has a set of operations. OHE now has a set of operations over which you can pass some values. Okay, so dot OHE fit transform. So what do you want to transform? We want to transform the target class. So a target class is stored in Y. So I think it returns a list or something. So we are converting it into a NumPy array. So if you want to know the type without we are converting, right? Let's see what's the type of this. So we can simply find. This is all for just testing. Okay. What is the data type? What is the return type of this thing? What is that? 1 minute, 1 minute. Is everyone getting this error? Reshape your data using if your data has a single feature or a shape or if you continue. What happened? I can reshape it anywhere, right? 1 minute, 1 minute. Okay. I think it is because of choosing it like this. I think the formatting is actually somewhat different because I changed the index locator. I hope that is not the issue. But I'll see. That shouldn't be the issue. Okay, just in case. I think I have a different representation for both. G.fit. Okay, yeah, it has a different representation. Okay, fine, fine. Okay, so there's a small change in the code. Okay, so when you use something like that -1, right? -1 I changed. Y is equal to data set of dot ILOC. You have to change it to this format. Okay, I'll show you. I'll show you what line. This line. So this line kindly make a change. So it's like it depends. If you give -1, the format is a little different, and if you give in this format, the format is little different. So the ability to identify errors. So one of the tough things in Python is this ability to identify errors. Okay, it should be in this format. Okay, 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 fine, 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 fine. Okay. So it is in this format, CSR matrix format. We do not want this format, so we are converting it into a NumPy array. Okay. So now if I give type
Please
of
paste the code in chat box, please.
which one? Which one?
Scalar from Scalar.
I have pasted both. I have pasted both. It's there, right? 1 minute data set of LOC. -1. This one is not there. This one is not there. Okay, okay, okay. One hot vector. Did someone cut one hot vector coding? Don't cut, please. It's copy paste. Control C, Control V. Okay, Control C, select Control C, Control V. I have pasted again. One hot vector I have pasted again. Just check. Okay. So now you may be interested in seeing how the transformation is. So how does Y look? So earlier Y looks like this one, like 1, 2, 2. Okay, 1, 2, 2, and so on. So after applying one hot vector, how does it look? Okay. So not showing clearly. Oh, this is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. It should not come like this. Wait. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. What happened? It's the same thing. No change.
No, after type Y, I'm not getting any output like array 1 2 2 3 0 3, sir.
Okay. So just let me roll back a bit. So some people may have issues, but okay, I'm not. Till this one, how many of you got it right? Okay. This step, I think. Please paste the code. Please paste the code.
Up to this, yes, NumPy and D array, that is coming.
That is coming, right? That is coming for all. Okay. So. Okay.
Yeah, and that one also coming.
That one is also
ND
coming.
array. Our type is ND array only, right?
Yes, yes,
Second
yes,
one also
yes. N-dimensional array. N-dimensional array. Huh?
coming.
Okay. Okay. So this is not right. Why is this coming? Okay, now it's correct. I don't know what happened earlier. This is what I was supposed to get. So did everyone get like this? I want confirmation for this because this is very important. So the first one, see the first one, it is actually 1. The price range is 1. It is like transformed it into this format. This is 0. This is 0. This is 1. This is 2. This is 3. Okay. So I think I can show it in this way. I don't know why it appeared like that differently. Now it's like showing like this. Why? Why? It's an undefined behavior. You're not supposed to get like this. Why?
Sir, don't re-execute the same cell.
Okay. I got this. Okay. I'm actually re-executing the same thing. So this is y. Okay. This is y. So there's a loop here. Okay. I just noticed that. Okay. So I will call this guy differently. We'll call this one y1. Okay. So that will avoid confusions. Kindly make this change in the code. Okay. I will make it in the code share also. So it is actually like adding, appending to the already existing created one. Okay. So, okay. I didn't happen to run it twice. Anyone else is having any issues? Okay, now it's really fun. 1 minute. 1 minute. We had rerun this. So, everyone?
Excuse me, sir, it is showing Stack Overflow.
You ran it too many times. Okay. Everyone go to
Okay.
this cell. Everyone go to this cell. Go to this cell once. Okay. Right? Everyone is there, right? So run this cell once. Okay, you should get this. Okay. Everyone must do this. If you don't do this, you will get errors later on. So, okay, yeah, fine. So after this, run this cell once. Okay, right? So those two cells are actually combined. Okay, so do not when you're running this cell, clear it. Okay, so when you're running this cell, you should always run this previous cell also. So let's call this one cell 1 and cell 2. If you're running cell 2, make sure that you are also running cell 1. Okay, fine. So now I'll just check if anyone is having errors. Okay, 1 minute. So now the thing is, I want to know if everyone is getting this answer. So I'll remove this 0. I want to know if everyone is getting this answer. The thing is the previous one. Okay. So 1 is transformed to 0, 1, 0, 0. 2 is transformed to 0, 0, 1, 0. Another again same 2 is transformed like this. 3 is transformed to 0, 0, 0, 1, and 0 is transformed to 1, 0, 0, 0. Okay. So I want to know if everyone is getting. No, sir, got the same. Okay. Ignore type by simply give us by. Okay. So if you are not getting one hot vector, I'll change. I will paste this. Change it. Some small modification. Okay. I think I'll take a little bit more time. I think this is fine. So that was very my small logical error, and because of that we got that. It's not a syntax error. Okay. So I have updated the one hot vector code. Just check if you are not getting, change the rewrite these two cells. Rewrite the previous one. Rewrite this one and followed by this one. Okay. So anyone still not getting it? One hot vector working fine. Okay. Share. For who? Okay. Go to code share. I have pasted in code share. Go to code share. And we'll post that code share this thing link here. Previous y alone. I'm not getting it as an array. What are you getting it as? What is the type? Did the type change? It's an array, right? So in dimensional numpy, it should be. If you forget to give values, dot values, you will not get numpy. You will get something else. You will get pandas. Okay. Okay, getting now. Okay, great. Okay, okay. That makes me happy. Got sir. Okay. Values in that column. So if anyone is having, okay. So okay. So the thing is, I want to know whether you are understanding or not. I will be moving on. If you do not get, you relook the video. Okay, you relook the video and see the changes. See the changes line by line. Even a small thing can make a lot of difference. Okay. Fine. Okay. Okay. So the next part. So now what we have done so far, I'll repeat again. We have read the data. We have read the training data. Split the training into feature set and target class. And then we have performed one hot encoding on the target class. Okay, right? So now next part is you have to split the training data into 80% for training and 20% for testing slash validation. Okay. So I have given this course. I had changed a lot of things here a little bit. 1 minute. Before sharing, before sharing, I have to make some one small change. Instead of y, it is y1. Okay. So again, sklearn to the rescue. I think sklearn. Huh? Okay. So sklearn to the rescue. Sharing tab. Okay. So I have posted the new next set of code. Huh? So this one is actually, this is a comment that is 80 20 split. We call it 80-20 split. This is very common, but not a golden rule or anything. 80-20 split of training data. Training.
Sir,
Yes.
so during regression, you had used one more code, random 42. So what was that particular parameter for?
Random 42. Actually, I don't remember that code, sir. If you are looking at it, I cannot say what it does. Regression. Okay. I need to see the code. Without seeing that or with just the function name, I cannot say, because there can be many random functions. For many package, they may have many random functions. So
Under this, under the test train split, we are given x, y1
okay.
test size.
So
and
yeah.
state.
So maybe what it is, it maybe is like it is for shuffling. I think maybe that parameter is for shuffling. Now here actually, I'll take 1 to top 80%. Then the bottom 20% for testing. It will become something like that. So maybe random maybe is for like shuffling. Okay. That is my guess. I'm not quite sure, but most probably I can only guess without seeing what the function does. I can only guess. So here, what are we doing? So there is this function, train test split. This function is located inside sklearn model selection. sklearn is a package. Inside that you have a Python program. Inside that you have something called a function. So in this function you have to pass values. Just like your normal mathematic function, you just have to pass values. What you're passing? You're passing x. That is the set of features. Okay. And your target labels. Okay. Target labels. And what is the test size? We're giving 0.2. Okay. So what it does is, first it will take x. It will take the x part. It will split it into two halves. The first half will be stored in x dot train. Sorry. First half will be stored in x dot train. The remaining half, that is the remaining 20%, will be stored in x dot test. Similarly, y1, right? Y1 will be stored in y underscore train, and the 80% of y1, first 80% of y1 will be stored in y underscore train, and the remaining 20% will be stored in y underscore test. So now I'm like checking. So it's like in 2000, just tell me, in 2000, 80% of 2000 is, what is 80% of 2000? What is 80% of 2000? 1600. So in training, I should have 1600, and in validation, I mean, our test set, I should have the remaining 400. So yeah, let's see. I compile this. I should get like I'm not printing, so I'm only going to give print, right? So if I give print open bracket, close bracket. This one you can type by yourself. I need not share. Okay, I need to put it in code share. You'll feel the happiness of typing code by yourself if you start typing. It's just normal print, open parenthesis and close parenthesis. So for the last one, we need not print because by default it will print. Okay. So I should get 1600, 400, 1600, 400. Yeah, this one. So train is 1600, test is 400. This is the target label. Target label train is 1600, test is 400. So are there any doubts? Yeah, got it, right? Got it. Okay, finally, no errors, no hiccups. Okay, fine. Okay. So now back to our algorithm. Okay. So we are done. Till here we have done. So next part is to design our Keras model. That is to decide the number of neurons and layers and so on. Okay. Neurons and numbers of layers and so on. So this is the main neural network part. It is like heavily abstracted. Keras is heavily abstracted. You just have to call functions and it will do the work for you. I'll repeat again. Abstraction means hiding of complexity, difficulty. Okay. So, okay. As of now, I'll post everything together one by one. So I have this. Okay. Right. So those are the packages I had to do. Okay. So Keras in models for ANN, you have to import something called sequential. Okay. So in Keras is a package. Okay. Inside that you have something called models. Inside that model you have a program called you have a class called sequential or ADT. ADT called as sequential. In Keras layers, okay, in layers you have another one called dense. So dense is for this thing, what you multi-layer perceptron you learned today morning, right? For so dense will actually add for each neuron in one layer, it will connect to all other neurons in the next layer. Okay. So how do you do this? How do you do this now? Okay. So first you have to create an object for sequential. Since sequential is a class or ADT, we have to create an object for it. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So we have to create an object for it. So if you do like this, you'll get, so if you just call sequential, this model will be of sequential data type. Okay. Now we are going to add the first neural network layers. So now the thing is that how many neurons should we add? So that is actually a very much of a trial and error thing. Okay. So it is a very much of a trial and error thing. So since we have 20 features, we will initially add 20 neurons. Okay. So this is the line. So I am having model. In model, I'm having dot. So add is a function of model. Inside add, I'm calling dense. Okay, dense is a class. It's called constructor. If you don't know, okay, if you don't know, just think of it like a function. That's all. And this 20 is the number of neurons. Okay, this 20 is the number of neurons. And input dimension is like this layer. So what is the previous layer? That is our feature set, right? So how many features are there? 20 features are there. So that one we should give here. So 20 features are there. So from 20 features, each feature will be connected to 20 neurons. Okay. And this activation function, I am using ReLU. Okay. So there are reasons for using ReLU, but that is like, it is a separate lecture. So why are you using ReLU and so on. So as of now, just remember we are using ReLU. So if I run this, I will get an error because it's incomplete. So that is one layer. So I have like my input layer. Input layer, I have 20 features. Now one neuron layer. There are like 20 neurons. Okay. And finally, we have to add the output layer. So output layer, out. I'll paste the code. Don't worry. Output layer. How many classes are there? 4 classes are there. So we should have 4 neurons, and since we need a probability value at the output layer, we will use activation function as soft max. Okay, so I'll post this in the code share. I'll post this in the code share. If you want, you can copy. Okay, so I'll repeat again. We are from a sequential class, we are creating a model object. Okay, so object will have a set of functions and it will have a set of associated values. So model has something called model.add. So when you're adding, in that you have something called dense. Dense is for adding dense connections. Okay, dense neural network connections. It will automatically add the connections. It will automatically add the weights, and automatically it will add the bias. Okay. Now try compare running this. You will not get any output. This is just a design. Okay, this is just a blueprint. Okay, fine. So scroll up. Should I scroll up? Anik Kumar. Please complete it tomorrow. Tomorrow. Okay.
Excuse me, Subin sir.
Yes.
Hello, Subin sir.
Yes.
Sir, can you again just explain these dimension, the parameters of 20 and 20? Both you have mentioned out there.
Yeah. So actually, this is the number of neurons. Okay. I'll change this. For example, I can give 10. This number of neurons is actually any number. You can give any number. That is a design choice. You can give any number. And this dimension, right? Input underscore dimension. That is the total number of inputs. Since it is the first layer, you should give this. In first layer, in any Keras-based neural network, you should give input dimension, and for 2 dimensional, there's something called shape. It's different. But you should give. It should expect what am I going to get. So here we are telling that we are going to give you 20 inputs. Okay. So now the thing is that since we don't know the number of neurons, I just assume that okay, we are having 20 inputs, right? For starting purposes, we'll keep 20 neurons. Okay.
Fine. Thank you.
Fine. So should we continue? Please share code share. Okay.
There is no hidden layer in this case, right?
There is this one is a hidden layer. So input is actually your this thing, set of inputs, 20 inputs. This one is your hidden layer. This 20 neurons is your hidden layer.
Somewhere I have seen conv2d layer also. Can you please explain the difference between these two?
Which one?
Conv2d.
Conv2d is for convolution neural networks. That we'll take tomorrow.
Oh, okay, thank you, sir.
Those who are interested actually can stay. I will finish this. It's getting late. I mean, it's getting pushed back and back. Okay. So I'm supposed to take a confusion matrix also. That one I'll take tomorrow. So this one I'll continue. This coding alone I'll continue and finish today. If you cannot finish, if you have some other work or something, you can leave and see the recording. I'll post the recording after this. But people who stay, I'm happy. And attendance after this session, I'll send the attendance. Okay. So I'll put it here and I'll put it also in the WhatsApp group. Okay. Fine. Okay. Let's continue. So now what we have done, we have only designed. So model will have the model variable, right? The model object. The model object will contain this design. Okay, fine. So let's go back to our algorithm. Algorithm says that algorithm is in English. So it says design model using Keras. We have done that part. So next part, we have to now only will check whether it is like is the model proper or not. So Keras has a compile step. That's a translation step or whatever you call it. And there you have to design your, you have to define your loss and your metric. What metric are you going to use? Accuracy. So yeah. And yeah. I think so far, if you have any doubts, you can stop me anytime and ask me. I'll explain. Okay. So, yes.
Why 2 activation functions, sir?
Okay, so for each layer you have to give activation function. So I think I'll show you a summary. I'll display and show you. Then you will understand. So the thing is like you have 20 neurons in one layer. Okay, you have 20 neurons in one layer and 4 neurons in the last layer. And in the beginning,
Why do the output layer also needs an activation function?
yes. Wherever there's a neuron, you need an activation function.
Okay, then why is an different?
Why different activation functions? Okay. Okay, so how do I? Okay, I can explain that. The thing is that if you use softmax inside, if you use softmax in hidden layers, neural networks have a problem called vanishing gradient problem. So we are actually taking derivative, right? Yeah, when you're taking derivative, you will get a loss value, right? Error value. That error value you will have to send it back. Uh,
Will not use the back propagation.
by default, it will use back propagation. So Keras, this model, dense model, will default it will use back propagation algorithm. Okay, I can change it, but I'm not going to change that. I'm going to keep it the default. So when it sends it back, if the error is like 0 point something, and if it goes back, it will actually become close to 0. As it goes back and back, it will split, right? For each neuron, it will split and it will go back. So it will become close to 0. So what happened is that the initial layers, right? Initial neuron layers will not learn. They will not change at all. So this is what is called as vanishing gradient. When the weightage will be same, it will not learn. So when the gradient is getting pushed back, this thing. So you will have this vanishing gradient problem. So in 1996 or something, I think they came up with ReLU. There are like 3 waves of neural networks. 1960, then they came up with so many counter arguments. It was sleeping for 10 years. Then 1980, they somehow solved that problem. Then new problems came. Then 1996, again they solved that problem. Then again there was some gap. Then around 2015, as you can see, right, Keras and all came around in 2015. So after this only there is a boom in complete heavy usage. Especially with extra computational power, all of these things has improved a lot. Okay. I can talk about the history again. It will take another 15 minutes. I don't want to take that long. It's already too long, right? Okay. So generally, for multi-class classification, there's a mathematical formula for this. Generally, we will use categorical cross entropy. Okay. And similarly, for this thing, if it's a 2-class problem, we will use something called binary cross entropy. So I'll leave it at that. And the model.summary actually will display how your neural network looks in a table form. So I'll post this in our code share. I'll post this in code share. I think confusion matrix, that was actually, it took a lot of time preparing that. Okay, I think I'll get some time tomorrow. Okay, so this is the summary. Summary, the thing is that, okay, you have sequential. Okay, you are sequential. The first layer is dense. It is one dimension. That is what this none means. It is one dimension. Okay, there are 20 neurons. Okay, so parameters. Parameters means number of weights. So first layer and second layer, there are 420 weights. So how did we get that? So it's like for one feature is connected to 20 neurons. So 20 features will be connected to 20 neurons. So 20 into 20, you will get how much? 400. And each neuron will have something called a bias weight. That's a +1. So there are like 20 biases. So each neuron will have +1 bias. One another side weight. I think SAR took in the morning. So each neuron will have another +1 bias. So there are 20 neurons in the this thing first hidden layer. And so you'll get 400 plus 20, a total of 420 trainable parameters. Okay. So from all of this, you're going to connect to 4 neurons. So how much will you have now? How many weights will you have now? It's 84. Okay. Can you get 84? Main concern.
20, 16 plus 4.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. So now I have a question. So everything is fine. That how will coding help 8 to 10 students? Okay. How will this help each student? So actually, some people may be interested. So as I said, there are levels of software developers. Uh, this is like one certain level. Like anyone who knows some level of coding, can work in it. You don't have to be an expert. The Keras package, all of this is optimized for you. Okay, and you can just plug and play. So you should ask, what should I do next? Every step you should ask this question: what should I do next? What should I do next? What should I do next? So how do you train a model? What are the steps in training a model? You just note them down. How do you train a model? And the student should know. This will be like a good intro to them. So if it is like, I have a problem, I have some data, so how can I train a model? What are the steps I should follow? And the complexity of the steps are hidden from them. Okay, the complexity is hidden. How it is happening inside is hidden. So actually, students should not worry about what is going on inside. That is one thing about this level of software developers. If they want to go deeper, if they want to go what is going on behind this thing and all, they will have to specialize in computer science. So this is actually like what do you call it, a guideline. If you take computer science and data science, you'll have to learn something more deeper in this. So if you're interested in this, you can go in this path. So that is what I feel. That is how it will be useful for 8th to 10 students. And many companies, they still use only Keras and PyTorch. They don't go PyTorch. Many of them use PyTorch. They don't go even deeper. They don't go deeper than this. They will design their model in some, what do you call it, some theoretical paper or something. They'll mathematically analyze all this, and then they will, mathematically analyze. Then they'll think, okay, our model is expected to perform this well, and they'll test their model. If it is performing to their expectation, then they'll be happy. Otherwise, they'll make whatever changes they want to do. So
okay, Subin, I have a question, Subin sir. Actually, does these marketing companies which are doing market analysis and all these things, do they also use these kind of models?
Actually, marketing companies, everything is actually moving to AI. So you can apply AI anywhere. As far as I know, YouTube, right? YouTube recommendation you'll get, right? On the right side, all of those are AI. There is no human person coding anything anymore.
Okay.
Amazon's Amazon's item product. Those who bought this also bought, that is also AI. Your Google search is AI. It's like those big companies are transformed to AI. Some small companies are refusing, but in the long run, I think slowly everything will change.
Everything. Okay.
So this is for teachers' benefit and experience to have practical understanding of the concept they are supposed to teach. Yes. So you should feel confident. That is why I'm saying you should be able to explain it in this level. Since the abstraction is very heavy, students may get lost. That is a big problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is the thing. That is the thing which I feel is that they should know Python. They should know what is this abstract data type and what is this class. They should know what is an object. Then they should know what is the set of operations and the set of values. So that is what I feel. If they know this much, they can learn. The main thing now, if you look at this, it looks like a mountain. Maybe I can show you this pandas library, how much they have coded. If you go and see the source code, you'll faint. That's how big it is. We are just calling one function and it is done like magic. But
Really?
yeah, so the thing is, at this level, they should not worry in depth. If they are worried in depth, they should choose a higher course after 11th, 10th, or 12th. You can guide them. You can choose CS. If you're interested, you can choose CS. Okay. If you're not interested, if you don't get it, okay. So for data sets, okay. Again, CS, right? There's something called Kaggle. This one I got it from Kaggle. This problem statement, everything I got it from Kaggle. Yeah. If you are interested, you can search www.kaggle.com. Okay. So that is for data science people. That's a good start for data science people. And yeah, there is like for programming, there is like HackerRank, HackerEarth, and so on. So many resources are there. Okay. Fine. So, any more questions from, let's say, this side?
So,
how much time?
Excuse me, Subin sir.
Yes.
There is one data set which we used, Iris. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
The data set that I am getting on the internet is only this data. It is not culminating to either Verisica or something like that. I
Hmm.
mean, I need the CSV file which culminates to the final answer. For example, for a data set of cancer,
Okay.
the first row should say whether the person with this characteristics or with this data had cancer or not cancer.
Yes, yes,
That
yes.
is more better for culmination. That
Okay, okay. So you're questioning the labeling part. That's what that is what you're saying, right?
right, right.
Okay, so the labeling part, actually for me, I'm working on brain tumor segmentation. The thing is that if I give an MRI image to my system, it should say this tumor is there, this subpart is there, and it should generate a report. That is very hard, and it will be there for 20 more years. If I want to research on it, it will take 20 more years to complete. So who should label this data? The question is, who should label this data? Generally, it is said that experts should. Should a single expert be fine? Generally, more the experts, higher the quality of data. Okay. So there are many things like that. Many things like that. Maybe some other time we can discuss. Suggest a book for beginners to learn this.
Okay, okay.
Uh, for this thing, it is actually more than books. There are blogs. For example, there is something like Analytics Vidya, Data Science Central. Maybe I'll gather some resources and share, because they'll bring it to your level. But still, I don't think there will be people who will explain as low level. Okay. Suggest books. I don't think books are actually are not friendly enough. That is what I feel. I have seen books, but people have not written friendly books enough. Hmm? Okay, so online research, medium.com, there are many people who are working towards data science. Yeah, so I think I can science.com. Okay, maybe tomorrow, or if you search, you will know. I used to follow many things. So
Okay, but what is the answer in this case? Are this data set, what is the final answer that we got? What should
okay,
be the
okay.
price of?
We shall continue with this. We'll finish this, and maybe after that we'll discuss if you have any questions. Right? We'll
Yes,
focus
yes,
on that.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now where are we? So we have finished compiling. Okay. So okay. Loss and metric we have done. Loss and metrics we have done. So next one is, yeah, finally train the model, set epoch and batch size. Okay, set epoch and batch size. Okay, so back here. Okay. So this is the final step, but there are more. I'll try to. So this is just one line. So if some person coded without Python, they will have to code for like 200, 300 lines. Now we are like doing it in 1 or 2 lines. Okay, so I have shared the last line also in code share. Okay, so this is the main line. The thing is that we have X train, we have Y train. So 1600 instances, 1600 instances, and for validation, we'll pass that remaining 400 X test and Y test. So now we have something called epochs. So again, in the morning session, Sir said something like generalization. When should your algorithm stop? There are chances that if your data is non-linear or if it is complicated, this is complicated to some extent, there is a high chance that your algorithm will not stop. So this is like a stopping point. How should you, when should you stop? So if I say 100 epochs, what is one epoch? That is the question you may have. One epoch is like, I have 1600 data, right? If I go through all the 1600 data once, that is one epoch. Okay, so if I go to the if I go through all 1600 data sets for training 100 times, that will be 100 epochs. Okay, so now what is batch size? Batch size is like how much we have 1600, right? So instead of sending one by one, in one go we'll send 64 of them. So it's like 1600 into divided by 64. So what will you get? That you calculate. I think you'll get 25, 25 something, I think. So batch size is like from the total size, you divide it by 64. Okay, and one batch you send to the neural network for training and find the loss, then update the weight, then go to the next batch, uh, find the loss, update the weight. Next batch, find the loss, update the weight. Repeat. This is a cycle. It keeps on repeating. Okay, fine, fine. So I'll run this, and I think you can see it. Okay, so it's like first epoch. It's actually very fast. It's very fast. So it's like you can see, right? So for okay, all 25 batches, it takes 2 milliseconds per step, and the loss is like 4 point something, 4 point something, and its training accuracy is 0.61. Validation means remaining. So here, when you are performing validation, you will not update the weight. Okay, you will not update the weight. You will directly run. You'll give the input to the model, and it will predict the results. So the validation loss is like 6 point something for this epoch, 90-second epoch. This is the case. Okay, so 97th epoch, 25 batches are there. Each step took 2 milliseconds. Loss is like 4.2 for training. Accuracy is 0.6. Validation loss is 6.6 and 5.9. So here you can see some oscillation. So here it is like accuracy is good, accuracy is poor. Accuracy is good, poor, good, poor. So this is called oscillation, which is highly, I mean, you should not get that. So that's actually an indicator of poor training. Okay. So if you look at this, finally our validation loss ends at this. So this is your final model. Okay, this is your final model. So any doubt in this step? You got error. Oh my God. What error?
Subin sir.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. Tell
Sir,
me.
I got error. It's showing last error. Let me see.
What error are you getting? If you are getting
Value
error,
value error. Shape 64,8 and 64,4 are incompatible. I don't know where.
Can you show the line of code, Subin sir, please?
line. Okay. Line of code. I think.
Just show me. Just scroll up.
This one, right?
64 and 100.
100.
64 and 100. I have written same, sir. Same code I have written, but
it must be some problem here. How much did you give in this layer? That neural network layers. Here, what did you give, sir? Input dimension.
shall I reduce the batch size?
Batch size is fine. I mean, this line I'm highlighting one, right? Model.add. Here, input dimension have you given as 20? Scroll up, sir. Scroll your code up to this line. You're seeing on my screen, right? This line.
Yeah. Add dense 20, input dimension 20.
Okay. Output 4.
And activation value.
Next line.
Dense 4.
Dense 4.
Activation softmax.
Okay, then go up a little bit and okay, little bit more. Where is it? Okay. This line you print y. In this line you print y. You're getting this, huh?
Just a second, sir.
Fast.
Y dataset dot ILOC colon then comma 20 colon 21 dot values. Then shall I print y?
Print y, just y.
Array 1, 2, 2.
You're getting that. Okay, fine. So next line you made this change, and are you getting the same output? Just check.
Y1 is y1 equal to OHE dot fit transform y dot
Run that. Print y1.
y1.
And are you getting the same array as this thing?
Print y1. Print y1. Yeah. 0, 1, 0, 0. Then next line 0, 0 like that.
Okay, fine. So next, run the next lines. Next block. Next code block.
8021, no?
Are you getting 1600, 400, 1600, 400 like that?
Which one? From SQL model selection, okay. From SQL model selection, where is it? Yeah, from SQL model selection 4. Yeah, it's okay.
1600, 400, 400.
2016, 4, 16, 4.
Okay. 100, right? 100, right?
Yeah,
1600?
100, yeah.
So run this now. Run this. So dense 20, input dimension 20, and this one.
Dense 4, activation softmax.
Activation softmax. Okay, run that.
Yeah. Just a second. No error.
No error, right? Now compile the model. Loss is categorical cross entropy. Matrix is accuracy. Are you getting this table?
Output, sorry, parameter 420, 84. None 20, none 4.
Yeah, that is right. Next line. Next, finally, try fit.
Yeah. History equal to model dot fit x underscore train, comma y underscore train, comma validation equal underscore data equal to x underscore test, comma
Run, sir.
y
Run
underscore
it. Run it. Is it working?
No, value error shape same error, sir. Incompatible. I don't know.
How?
Okay, so you continue, just leave it, huh?
Okay, sir. Okay. Somewhere it missed. I don't know where. Okay, sir. Sorry about that. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
He can rerun all the codes. Connection lost in between means error will come. From beginning, let him rerun all the codes.
Okay.
All the cells.
Okay. So actually our training is done. Our training is done. Our model actually has fitted. And now what you can do is you can test. So that's all. Actually, that is all. Your training part is over. Okay. So now you can play with this. The results actually do not look that well. So it is like 0.51, 0.6. You're not getting the 90 and 80 result.
This EPOC once again so that the accuracy will improve.
Yeah, so
Second
that is
time.
one. That's a good suggestion. That is increase the number of epochs and see if it is like doing better or not.
Yeah, rerunning the code again.
Okay.
Not in rerunning the code again.
Rerunning the code again. So actually we are doing something called stochastic gradient descent. So each time we'll get a different result. But I think most of you would have got a result between 0.6 and 0.5, right? Did anyone get better results? Sir, I think you're having a 1 or something. 1, what is this 1? 1 before history. What is that 1 before history?
Subin, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, done. It's done now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Now where was I? Yes. But where were we? I got distracted. Yeah. Now actually is to predict our model. Okay, make prediction based on our results. So we splitted 400 of them, right? You remember, right? Like model dot this thing. X test, we splitted the features into X train and X test. So 1600 for training and 400 for testing. So now what we can do is there is something called predict. Predict. Okay. So model dot predict of X test. So that is, it will give for 400 things and we can see the results like widespread. I'll post this in the. Okay. I'll post it here. I have posted it in the code share. So if you look at this, okay, it looks very scary, but it is not. So what is it predicting? So the first row in X test, it is 2.7, but it is 10 power minus 8. Okay, so it is like 0.000. It is equivalent to 0. This one also, it is like equivalent to 0, 10 power minus 2. And here, this one is 0.92. So this is the high chance. It's a high chance that this is the class. That is class number 2. For the second one, it is saying 99% of the chance it is this class. Okay, so this one is 10 power minus 7. So 10 power minus 7 is 0. 10 power minus this is also 7. It is definitely not 4. Okay, it is definitely not a last class. So everyone got that? Everyone got something similar? Okay, it works. Okay, everyone got this prediction? Somewhat similar? Yeah, I will share the PPT. I will share the PPT. I'll share the attendance also. It's almost over, but okay. Yes, right? Yeah, fine. Okay. So now we have the ground truth. So our ground truth is in y test. I think y underscore test. Yeah. So y underscore test. We can see that. We can compare whether our prediction is good or not. So our first prediction is wrong. That's a very good start. So first prediction is wrong. So it is saying that it is class 2, but it is actually class. It is saying class 1, but it is actually class 0. Our second prediction is correct. Second prediction is correct. Okay. Manually we can verify like this. So it is hard to do it for everything. So we'll find a workaround for that also. So this third one is also wrong. So it is making a lot of mistakes. So it has not trained well. According to me, at least, it has not trained well.
Accuracy is around 50 to 60% only. That's why.
That is why our accuracy is around 50 to 60% in the training set. So now let us find the accuracy for our testing data. Training accuracy and testing accuracy are little different. Training accuracy, validation accuracy, testing accuracy. 3 accuracies are there. Okay. So for that, I have written the code. I'll explain line by line just in case. Okay. So even if I get these codes online, they have these logical errors. They do not follow coding principles, and you run into problems. I pasted this new code in the code share. Copy. So what we are doing, we are creating that is now we have to compare this, right? We have to compare this list, this matrix with this matrix. Now we only saw for 3. Now if you want to see for all 400, we have to write a small code for that. Okay. So what are we doing? We are creating an empty list called pred. So for 400, so length, it's like I will start from 0 up to 400. Up to 400, what I'm doing for each of them, find the maximum. Okay, find the maximum. Which of this thing? If it is 0, it will. If this is maximum, it will return 0. For it, I'll go up. So what will argument max do? What it will do is that. Okay, so here what is the maximum? This is the maximum. So it will return 2. Okay, it will return 2. So here it will return 0. Here it will return 2 again, and so on. So the same thing actually we are repeating here. Okay, we are repeating here. So that is like if it is 1, it will convert to 0. If it is in this location, it will convert to 2. If it is in this location, it will convert to 2, and so on. So maybe I can print now. Now it will be more clearer. Let us see how it looks like. So it's like this is for loop. Print. What are we going to print? We are going to print pred first, followed by we are going to print test. Okay. Okay. So it is a big thing. So I think it is a very bad idea to print. Maybe. Okay, it doesn't have head also because it is not okay. Fine. We can do something for accuracy. Don't print it. Don't print it. It will look. It will not look nice. It doesn't look nice. So our again sklearn has a package for giving accuracy. So it is actually very easy. So sklearn actually solves a lot of our problems, but do not use it for big ones because it will get RAM issues. It is not optimized. Okay, fine. I'm not going fast, am I? Okay. So I'll go through this two blocks of code again slowly. What we are doing, we are converting this somewhat one-hot vector form into our initial form. That's what we are doing. So yeah, here it is. Converting one-hot encoding test labels to normal earlier label format. So what are we doing? We are starting from 0 to length of ypred. So there are 400. So it will go to 0 to 400 In each of that, each of the rows, whichever is the maximum value, it will return that index. So if it is 0th index, it will return 0. If it is first index, it will return 1. If it is second index, it will return 2, and so on. The same we are repeating for test. Okay, this is prediction. This is the ground truth, the actual truth. So again, sklearn metrics, it has something called accuracy. So you have to pass both of this, that is prediction and test. This prediction list and test list. So we'll get a value like 0.515. We are multiplying with 100 to get the accuracy. Okay. So I think that's about it. Yeah, we have it. Okay. So there is two things that is just for drawing graph of our training. Only for this one I will draw. That is for accuracy I will draw. For loss I will not draw. Loss is somewhat, it will just appear little bit differently. Okay. So this is the last part. It took a lot of time. 1.5. It's like an extra session. Okay. It's okay. As long as it is useful, it is okay. Okay. So how to draw a graph? So if you look at this history actually we got it here. That is when you are fitting, right? When we are fitting, we returned this value into history. So it is like a log in the sense what all did it do, that information, all this, every iteration information, that information will get stored in history. Okay. So after storing that information, we have to plot it like a graph. Plot it like a graph. So Matplotlib, many are there. Seaborn, Matplotlib, many packages are there. So we are using Matplotlib's PyPlot program. PyPlot program, we are using it as PLT. So here, every time you have to draw. Okay, so it's like plot PLT, plot of history of accuracy. So yeah, history. Okay, see, we are actually reading. So from the from the fit model. Okay, from the fit model, we are reading accuracy values and validation accuracy values. Okay, so that is what we are doing here. Okay, so we are just plotting accuracy values and validation accuracy values. Just imagine like a square or rectangle. Inside that, now you have drawn a graph. Just imagine you have drawn a graph for accuracy and validation accuracy. So we are saying the title of the image is model.accuracy. Y label is accuracy and X label is epoch. So first one is the legend. Legend is like train and test. So where should it appear? Top left. Okay. So if I show the image now, I think you can get a clear view. Sitting so long. Okay. Right. So okay. So yeah. Okay, so here it's like this. So title, model accuracy, legend is in upper left. So upper left, train and test is here. The orange one is I think test. The blue one is train. Okay, fine. So x-axis, y-axis you are having accuracy, and x-axis you are having epoch. So this is how you draw. And after finishing your drawing, you have to show. So that is why after finishing your drawing, you are like plot.show. Fine, fine. So this is over. I will share the attendance link now. Okay, did I share the plotting thing? I think, yeah, I have shared. Okay. So now the thing is that I have some analysis. It's open. Who opened it? Okay. I don't know, someone else opened it. Sorry. So I'll share this form. 1 minute. Copy. Copy. Okay, attendance link I have posted. I'll post in the WhatsApp group also. So I have actually planned something more. That is like we are having poor accuracy, right? How to improve this? I have a small part of code only. People who are interested maybe can stay back. Others can fill the attendance form and they can go. Okay. Even if it is like 2 or 3 people, I will stay back.
Is staying back because accuracy, how to improve is important.
Okay. Okay. So this is just a small intro to deep learning. Okay. Why? How we analyze? How me and my other scholars analyze?
Actually, this is deep learning or machine learning, the present one.
Okay, so in machine learning, so when we talk about neural networks, okay, so I'll tell you a story. I'll tell the story. In 1995, what happened was that there are neural networks was already present. Neural networks was already present, but the thing is that 1 minute, I'll share the attendance link and I'll come back. Yeah, so neural networks were all present. Now the thing is, when they added more layers, now we added few layers, right? When they added more layers, it was not learning well. It was not learning properly. Okay, so they are having a problem, as I told earlier, that vanishing gradient problem. It was there. So it was like until then it was just neural networks. There was no deep learning or anything. Then there is one researcher called Hinton. He's called grandfather of neural networks. He came up with ReLU. He came up with backpropagation algorithm. I think ReLU was by someone else. I'm not sure, but he came up with backpropagation algorithm. He gave a solution for that vanishing gradient problem. So because of that, people were able to add more neural network layers. They are able to add more and more layers. So then from there it got a layer and it got a name called deep learning. Okay. So initially it was like normal neural network. So you're adding more and more. You're adding more and deeper layers. That is the thing. You're adding more and more layers. What happens? So they called it as deep learning. Initially, deep learning models were not trainable. You cannot train at all. Only like last 2 layers will train. After that and all, it will initially if we assign it 0 till the end, it will be remaining as 0 because of this vanishing gradient problem. So now because of ReLU, actually ReLU, they were able to train better, and now again more and more improvements have come, and that from then on it is called as deep learning. Now they're like training for like hundreds of layers also. Some people can train hundreds of layers, and
This is an deep learning only. This
as of now,
we have.
so now what we have done, we have only had only one hidden layer. So if it is like one hidden layer, we cannot consider it deep enough. It is not deep enough. There is no solid definition for deep learning. When does normal learning become deep learning? Normal neural network learning become deep learning? But from history, what I would say is that anything more than 2 hidden layers, you have input layer. If you have 3 or more hidden layers and 1 output layer, then you can consider it as deep learning. Okay.
So tomorrow you will convoluted layer.
Actually, that actually this thing TA will take. Anil, are you here?
Yes. Because I am trying to do that MNIST data set last 2 weeks. Actually,
MNIST. He'll take MNIST only. He'll take MNIST. Yes.
Okay. Then I have some because I got the code from net, but there are so many doubts. Convoluted can be code I have. But, yeah, I have a lot of doubts. That's why.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. So yeah, Satish sir got 64% accuracy. Oh, lucky person. Okay. So we'll continue. I have posted the I think attendance link. Both of them got right. Attendance link you can fill. Okay. This group it's not there. Okay. Fine. So this part I expect you people to do the change itself. Okay. Just a small change. That is the earlier layers are fine. The pre-processing everything is fine. We are going to change our neural network model. So one thing people may think is I'll explain it in terms of school students itself. So there are like everyone understood this overfitting underfitting problem. How many of you understood that? Sir said today morning overfitting, you have underfitting. I think Deepak sir also said overfitting, underfitting. Everyone understood that? What is overfitting? What is underfitting? Okay, I'll give an analogy. So you have a child. You're teaching something to that child, and now you're asking a question. And let's say he or she or whoever it is answers, it is correct. Okay, it is correct, and you are leaving it as such. Now you're asking another question, and they are answering it wrong. So you will correct them. Okay, so that this correction part is that loss function. Okay, this correction part is loss function. Now, in any school, anywhere, there will always be one child who will mug up. He'll mug up without knowing anything. He'll keep on mugging up. He'll mug up the data completely, perfectly. But in the test, for his bad luck, you have twisted the questions, which is not in the portion he mugged up, and there's high chance he will get poor marks. So that is overfitting. Okay, so that is overfitting. The model will exactly learn the training data, and you give anything outside the training data in the prediction time, it will fail. So that is a best example for overfitting. For underfitting, there are several categories. I'll show one underfitting. What we are currently having is actually underfitting. You saw the graph, right? Going up and down. It has not generalized well. So where is it? Okay, this graph. The validation has not generalized well. It is going up and down. It is not learning. It has not learned properly. It is also some example of underfitting. Okay. So underfitting is that there will be most of not one child or anything. They'll always study one day before the exam. Okay. Some will study well, some will just quit. They will not study at all. So when you are giving them the test, they will definitely score poor. So that is underfitting. And there are actually sometimes chances. This is the category we have now. That is like the number of neurons may not be sufficient. Okay, so due to some reasons they cannot study.
Sir, we are getting 80% of data for free.
Yes. Yeah. So the thing is that there is a problem. There is some problem. We have to find that out. So one initial try, what we can do is, okay. So I will not. Should I post this? I think. Okay. So what we will do is, everyone create a code block. Okay, create a code block. So we will give it more neuron power. Okay, that is the first attempt. We will give it more neuron power. That is the same model only. Let us add another layer with. So here, second hidden layer. You don't need to give this. Okay, you don't need to give this input dimension. Here, what are we going to do is, we can give any number. Okay, let's say we'll reduce it to 10. We are giving one more. We are like giving it more chance to learn better patterns. Okay. So now, should I copy and paste this in the code share? Should I do this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll just an addition line. You can actually keep your own number of neurons. So that thing is that I'm suspecting that my model is underperforming because the neurons are somewhat less. Okay, the number of neurons are somewhat less. So I have added it at the last actually. So I have added one more layer. And now I'm going to run this. So I'm redesigning my neural network architecture. Okay. So I repeat the algorithm. That's all. I repeat the algorithm. I'm redefining the architecture. Then I have to compile. Okay, compile this new architecture. Okay, so the weights are updated. So it is 420. The next layer is again now 210, and finally 44. Okay, 44 weights. So now I have to train this new model. Okay, I'll train this new model and see if my accuracy improves for the same number of epochs. So is it changing? Is it increasing?
Can we add this code in the end?
But if you're adding, remember our algorithm, that is important. So if you're the thing is that which part did you make change? So if you look at this algorithm, we are making change here in step 4. So wherever you're adding and running, you are changing step 4. So you have to run step 5 and step 6 again. Okay.
Okay.
So we are changing step 4. Since we are changing step 4, we have to redo step 5 and step 6 again. So that is what I did. I compiled again and I'm training again. Okay.
Okay.
Now back to our code. So did this guy change? So looks like initially initially it looks like the accuracy has gone down. Okay, that's the initial starting points, no problem. But what is the final thing we got? It looks like it didn't learn well. It is still remaining the same. Okay, it is still remaining the same.
Almost
So
same only.
same here. Okay, everything else we'll have to rerun just in case. We redid the prediction. So I redid the prediction. So this one you need not run. Now let us find the accuracy for this one. Okay. So for me earlier it was 51.5. So let us see if it has changed significantly or not. It is 57. It has changed much, but I added so much neurons, 10 neurons extra and an additional layer. So I don't. It doesn't look very big, right? It doesn't look very big. So if I look now, the graph will give me a better picture. The graph remains same. So actually, this means if the graph remains same, it generally means that it had no effect. Okay. So from the accuracy, it looks like it has improved. From the accuracy, it looks like it has improved, but from the graph, it doesn't look so. So the thing is that adding more number of neurons will not always work. Adding more number of neurons will not always work. Fine. So everyone tried this? Yeah, you
Yes,
can leave.
yes. All.
It is not mandatory to stay. If you want, you can relook at this recording later. Okay. Okay, Betty ma'am, you can leave. Okay. Others,
Not.
yeah. Oh, you got 70. So SARS improved. You got 48. Some people's went down. Huh? Okay. Okay. But the important thing is you look at your. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Someone is speaking something. Oh, it reduced to 28. So the thing is that the model is very unstable. It is not robust. We call it as unstable model. You can see that pattern in the graph. The graphs, look at it, it's like up and down. It's like it is oscillating. This is called overshooting problem in machine learning. I think he showed it the graph today, right? It will be like U in shape. It will shoot here and there. I don't know. I don't know whether he showed it or not. That is this Kamalesh sir. Kamalesh sir. So this is the problem. We are having this red line. Look at the orange line. Orange line. It is going up and down. Training is somewhat okay, but this thing validation is very horrible. Okay. So for this, if you are before 2015, if you are like doing neural networks before 2015, you may not get the answer at all. Okay. So in 2015, they came up with one what do you call it? Another layer called batch normalization. Okay. So batch normalization. Okay. So this one was added in batch normalization, and I will add this into my model. Okay. So how to add batch normalization is after your first layer, you write model dot. Okay, I will copy this. I'll keep this models as it is. I will not change the models. So I will copy the same model. That is my updated model. Same updated model. I will create a coding slot again. Again, I'm again redesigning my model. Okay, I'm again redesigning my model. So after this, I will add batch normalization. That is model dot add of batch normalization. Okay. So this is one. So one more batch normalization before the previous layer. So in between the input and output layers, you just add two batch normalization layers. So we have changed the design. So we have to recompile the code. I mean, recompile the model, and then we have to retrain. Okay, right? I have pasted the code in CodeShare. If you want, you can refer and compile. Okay, so now we have to compile. Yeah, compile and summary. So the updates you can see. So you are learning a little bit more weights. Okay. So finally, we have to fit. Okay. So now it's taking so long. Okay. How's the accuracy now? Stuck at 100. Fuck. Okay, so
98.
98. Huh? 96, 97. Now run your prediction. Your prediction and go up to the graph. Just give shift enter, shift enter, shift enter. That's all. It will go to the last. Shift enter, and shift enter. Yeah, not run, don't run all, don't run all. Run all means it will run the other models also. We don't want that. Okay, so I got 96.25. Okay, I got 96.25. And the graph, I didn't run, I think. How's the graph? Is it still that? Okay. So here's a problem. Actually, it is very smooth. In the first shot itself, it learned. Okay, so it's starting at. It is like zoomed out. Earlier, it was like starting from 0.4, but now the gap is here. 1 minute. Is everyone getting this graph or some other graph? Hello. I think I'll have to look at the chat. I got 84. Okay, I got 48.
Please show the code of importing batch normalization. I'm stuck there.
Oh, okay. I actually posted it in code share. If you want, you can look. Here it is. That's all.
Yeah. That part is not seen.
At the last, I added. It's there. Last line number 74 to 79 in code share.
74 to 79. Only that is adding layers.
Yes, adding 2 layers called batch normalization.
Importing batch normalization. That's
Okay.
code.
That line. Okay, I missed. So it is here actually. Keras, this line.
Okay. Layers after dense. Okay.
Yeah. It is a layer. So it is a layer. So it is batch normalization. Fine, huh? Okay, na? Ma'am, is it okay?
Okay,
Hello,
okay.
Okay. So just tell me what graph you're getting. Sometimes some people will get a smooth graph. I got a very rough graph. I was not supposed to get that. I think it saved the values. It should not save values. Initially, training should be slow. Okay. Now I'll get a good graph. Okay. So I think last time I had some issues. Okay. Yeah, it is like somewhat very good.
I am getting an error in batch normalization, that line.
Okay. Which line, ma'am? I mean, did you change this actually? 1 minute.
The graph is good. Now graph is good. Same.
Graph looks beautiful. So where is it? Yeah, ma'am, I actually forgot to add this line. You're supposed to add this line and rerun this part. This batch normalization.
Okay.
From Keras, everyone do add this. Okay, from Keras.layers import dense. Then we put a comma and add this batch normalization. Then only you will get batch normalization. So this is one analysis. So can I continue? That will be next. Will be the last part. Got the same graph. Okay. So the last part. Shall I finish it? One more. Yes. So now the question is that did what do you call it? Adding batch normalization. I mean, is it enough? Do I need a deep neural network like this? Is my earlier model enough? Earlier I had only one layer, right? So is my 2 layers? That is my question I'm having now. Should I add these 2 layers? What will happen if I add batch normalization to my first model? That is the question I'm like posting now. So for that, let us do an experiment again. So what will I do? I'll take the same thing. Now I will remove two layers, one batch normalization layer and this one. So it is back to my simple neural network. That is 20 neurons. But this time only one difference is I have a batch normalization layer. Okay. So I'll run this. So, okay. So again, now we have to compile again. Okay. So the number of weights has reduced a lot. And we are training. Okay. We are training. So again, there is a problem with this, I think. Let's check. No, it's not a problem. It's fine. Okay. Now prediction. Should I paste that code in code share? The modification I made. So I think if you try like this by yourself, the modifications by yourself, I think you itself can code. You do not. We have designed like the same problem. We have designed like 4 neural networks with the different values, right? 4 neural networks with the different.
Meaning, once you saw it from above, the all changes, because
Okay.
I'm an error at one place, so I don't know whether it is to be done or not.
So, ma'am, you should tell me the error. You should learn to understand the error.
This is all executing.
No,
Yes.
no. I mean, the error. They'll say error will have a name. Error will have a name or code.
That line history one, that I am getting an error.
What is it saying? What is the error saying?
Should I paste it here 1 minute?
Yeah, paste it here. Paste it here. Paste it. So this is my code. Control S.
I have pasted it is that history liner where I'm getting this error.
Whether the model is built and its output layers are set. If not, self is compiled. Trace runtime error. Okay, so I think, ma'am, you designed the model and I think you didn't compile. Huh? So you're supposed to compile. So I'll tell you, after this block, after a block like this, you give shift enter. After a block like this, you give shift enter.
1 minute. This line, 1 minute. We need batch normalization.
Batch normalization is working. Did you import it like this? For batch normalization, you have to add a line like this.
And there is one more. You have written it.
So earlier it was like this way. That is before adding batch normalization.
I have added batch normalization.
Make sure the spelling is also correct. Okay,
Spelling is coming automatically. That word is coming.
Okay, then give shift enter there. Shift enter. 1 minute.
1 minute. Let me see.
Shift enter. Okay.
Should I share my window and show?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. I mean, okay. Which meet are you in? Which meet are you in? Okay, this meet. Okay. 1 minute. Which one should I stop? Which one I'll stop presenting? 1 minute now. Only one person.
In my meeting.
Only one person can present. Okay. Try presenting now, ma'am.
1 minute.
So others, are you getting good results now?
See, I think my screen is presented.
1 minute.
Just see here, this please. So, is there any error? I am not getting any error here.
Okay, run. Okay.
After
Then
this,
compile. No. You're skipping step. You should compile. Model.compile.
This one is working.
Yeah, give that.
This is working.
Now this.
I should not compile this one.
Run this one again. History. Run history.
I'm getting an error now. See. Achha, now this is working. Yes, it is working.
So again, that is why I said.
I don't know what happened that time.
No, I go ahead. I'll show you. Stop your presentation. I'll show you.
1 minute.
Okay. So I said this earlier, but it's okay. Artificial neural networks. Okay, so here, so this is what you are doing. You're designing a model using Keras, but you skipped step 5. You went to step 6. Okay, ma'am? Madam?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So you can see the slide, right?
Yes.
There we are doing step 4, designing the Keras model. Okay. So after that, you're supposed to compile. That is recompile. But
Okay.
instead of that, you went directly to step 6.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So only you got that error. So that
Okay.
is why this algorithm will be very useful for small children.
Yes,
They can
yes, this
understand
is what.
English, right? So if they can understand English, I think they can do line by line what
No,
to
this is
do.
better. This is better.
Yes, yes. Yes. Okay. So anyone has any doubts, they can ask. I think I'm done. So to summarize what we did, I created a simple ANN to predict 4 classes from 20 features. So initial prediction, we got poor results. We tried adding one layer. Again, we got the same poor results. From the graph, it looked like the validation was very, very poor. It was going up and down. So I added something called batch normalization. Batch normalization, you can look it up how it is doing. It is your own interest. So adding batch normalization to the deeper neural network, we got 96 accuracy, 96%, around 96% accuracy. So now again the question is, will my smaller model work with batch normalization? So we removed the layers, 2 layers we removed, one batch normalization and one neural network layer we removed, and we reran the program. And this time, yes, both of the models after batch normalization performed very well. Okay. So yeah, so that is about it. That is from my part. Any questions you can ask? I took an entire session of time. I don't know. I hope it was useful. Yeah.
Yes, Subin, it is very useful. It was a very good session.
No. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So kindly fill the attendance and feedback form. If you have,
That we answered. Thanks a lot.
okay. Okay. This was enter code. I will share this thing also. AN and whatever code I have done, I will share that. I'll upload that code. I'll upload this recording also. You look at this recording 2-3 times, and maybe you will understand it better. Okay. Maybe tomorrow I'll also take the confusion matrix. I prepared around 30 slides to explain. Okay. We'll see that tomorrow. Okay. So thank you. Thank you. I think I'll stop recording now.